Jobs number at 8:30. Does anybody really care? Should we even cover it? This market doesn't care. It just wants to go up. We'll cover it, folks. I know you love hearing of the price action. We'll see what it does, what it means for the Fed. Big beat by Lulu. That's crazy chart. We're gonna have a good debate on that one. Sentinel 1 might be Sentinel 0 here. We got some other earnings to cover, even though earnings season is almost over. There's some big stocks reporting. CC Lagator at 8:15 to prep us on the options market. This is Friday. We're fired up on pre-market prep. Mitch, hit that intro.
Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep with your hosts, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I'd buy that stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
All right, let's get the show on the road. S&P's up 20 1/4 handles, 42.48 1/4. Caught a bid right off that 6 p.m. open. It's official. I'm wrong. The high of the year is not in. The buck is down 8 cents after taking a haircut yesterday at 103.41. Bonds up 6 ticks, just over 129. Crude trying to find a home in the 70 handle, up a $1.22 at 71.32. Gold flat at 1995.70. Silver diverging down just a penny, 23.98. And Bitcoin, that's just hanging out. That's up $255 at 27,180. Let's bring in Triple D. Triple D. Here we are.
What's up?
New highs for the year.
Yeah.
Headed into the. Does anybody? I mean, who cares about the Fed? Who cares about inflation? Who cares about the jobs report?
Pretty much.
We're
in full bull mode here. The bulls are in control. Again, yesterday, you got to like the impressiveness because it wasn't just led by the NASDAQ. It was led by a lot of other stocks as well. IWM had a good day. A lot of beaten down names had a good day. Macy's turned it around like we predicted and closed green. I mean, they were going in. And they were buying some of the other laggards. They weren't buying AAP. Now that, forget about that one. They weren't really buying Foot Locker. So there's two that are just, seem to be on death spirals here. But overall, they were buying other sectors yesterday. And that's the first time we've really seen that, in a while where they're buying kind of everything across the board. So they came in with their dip buying shoes on from the previous day, and they were buying across the board.
All right, Money Mitch is going to steer the boat here because we got our guest CC Lagator coming on at 8:15, and we got a slew of earnings reports here. Earnings season never dies. And Mitch, how you doing this morning? You lose the first game to the Nuggets. It's going to be a tough series.
That it is.
But anyways, hey, you made it there. You're right. So should we start with Lululemon or Sentinel 0?
Well, I'm going to really quickly let's just get through some of the macro really quickly. Of course, the Senate passed the Fiscal Responsibility Act, preventing the first ever U.S. default. The truth is, what default was going to happen? Did anyone really think that the default was going to happen? I mean, let's just be honest. This was all like kind of political games. It gets worse, then it gets better. That's what we talked about last week, and you could clearly see it. Now it's a lot better. The only question is, was it priced in? And you could see it yesterday. It felt like it wasn't. It felt like things were starting to rise. And then one thing to also keep in mind is we do got an OPEC Plus meeting this weekend. So pay attention, all those oil traders out there. Will OPEC Plus cut production again? That's the question. And of course, that can change the price of oil. That can change the price of the oil stocks and turn things around. So keep your eyes out for that. All right. I'll get us out and right into the earnings.
Sure.
That's kind of the macro talk. We don't have to go too much into that. Just keep your eyes on oil.
Well, the jobs, 8:30. So
and
some things might change. It can move the market. Jobs used to be the most important number of the month, but since we've been in this inflation fight here for the last year, it's been the CPI number, obviously, but jobs is important. So it will move. It will be market moving at 8:30. So we'll come back to that, in a few minutes. Let's go to those earnings.
All right, let's go to Lulu. Who has some Lulu products? Let me know in the chat. Let's get to it. Lulu Athletica here reporting their Q1 EPS at $2.28. Beats the $1.98 estimate. Sales at $2.0 billion, beat the $1.92 billion estimate. They see Q2 EPS to $2.47 to $2.52 versus a $2.50 estimate. It also sees fiscal year 23 EPS to $11.74 to $11.94 on the high end. Now, one thing I did see, though, in the earnings is that inventories are increasing here about 24% compared to the first quarter of 2022. Is this a little bit of a warning sign?
And market doesn't think so. Market just says, this is a retail that actually reported a decent quarter, because we've seen every other retailer report disasters here. So they were pricing in a disaster. This thing was down like 9 days in a row here, too. We gave Target all the love. And just quietly, Lululemon was straight down 9 days into it. Well, look at this. One earnings report, it gets all the losses back.
Crazy.
Boom, in one report. Target's not going to do that, sorry. But Lululemon does. Naturally, I'd want to fade this. The problem is this kind of market, when the momentum gets going in one direction, it is trendy, especially off these earnings reports. I mean, you can look at Viva Systems yesterday. You had all kinds of resistance, 184 to 185. Did not matter. Blew through that like no problems at all. Rocket ship mode. Lululemon is in rocket ship mode here too, but it's not a tech stock. So I'm going to respect the 375 to 380 area. Joel, you were going to mortgage the house on this trade.
Yeah, I don't want to get too opinionated on this one, but I mean, come on. How many people are getting their money back? I mean, you have a move.
Oh, they all are, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at it a couple ways. I mean, first of all, like if you didn't sell when it was up there at what, almost 390, and you rode it lower, you gotta be licking your chops here at 375. If you bought the dip on day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, you're banking. I mean, you're like, why would you wait? I mean, Dennis, what's the size out there in this market?
Oh, it's liquid. You get out of this thing within 50 cents. It's liquid.
Like 10,000 shares?
You don't see any stock with 10,000 shares unless you're trading SIRI, S-I-R-I or BAC. Nobody shows 10,000 shares on the bed unless it's like one of those really thick mega caps.
Yeah.
So you don't see that anymore. But if you want to work out of 10,000 shares, you gave me a 10,000 share order trying to work it right now, I think I could work it out by 274. So buck.
374?
I think I could work it out by 274.
Oh man, I wish
I could see 1,000 shares in there, but you work it.
Yeah, there's absolutely
somebody just
no
tried.
way.
Somebody just tried and called my bluff. The institution's like, I got a 10,000. Was that you, Joel? Was that you? It just boomed down to 374. There goes the 01s, bunch of odd lots. Add them all up, about 1,500 shares traded there. You got to work it a little better than that. You got to feed it slowly.
Dennis, I was just going to make the biggest bet that there's absolutely no way that you can get out of 10,000 shares over 374. There's no way. I'm actually a little disappointed in you. I'm a little disappointed in you.
Orders.
No, you can't.
I worked that. You gotta work that crap.
You can work it. And you think you can work out of 10,000 shares of Lululemon?
Not now.
Well, there you go.
Because you just hit the bid.
Good job, Dennis. How many shares traded? God, am I disappointed in you today?
I'm telling you.
I was in a good mood, and then you have to make a comment like that. Man, oh man. Oh, what did all these years of teaching you, and it's gone in 60 seconds.
So some institution was listening, and they literally tried when I said that, but they didn't know Hope. You got to work it a little easier. Like, you feed it slowly. Don't show your hand. Just a little feeding.
One thing that I want to put on the radar here is that I know Lulu, isn't that, people that go to the gym? Have you guys taken a look at Planet Fitness lately? That's falling off the wagon, man.
Really?
Yeah, man.
There's a recession coming.
That's what might
just
be
not
it,
for tech.
Man. And look at that. Look at that chart. That's telling me something. And then if people are not going to be going to the gyms and we're going to have, people trying to worry about necessities. Is Lulu a stock that I wouldn't really have? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Wow, right. Look at that Planet Fitness.
I don't want to have any retail. So the full disclosure is I still own 0 retail stocks now that I sold my Kohl's on that last bump. I'm pretty sure I own 0 retail in my long-term portfolio. Nothing, not even Walmart. So you know what I want in my long-term portfolio is 100% tech because that's what's working. I got a little bit of tech, not enough. I wish it was 100% tech. I got these dividend payers. Those suck. So you want those. What you want is tech. That's all right,
let's get more earnings in. Sorry about that.
Let's go to Broadcom. Let's start talking about Broadcom. This was an interesting one. Of course, it's been on a big move. I felt like it didn't move that much on earnings, but no. Of course, we'll hear a little bit more about it from Dennis here. Adjusted EPS, $10.32, beats the $10.08 estimate. Sales of $8.73 billion, beat the $8.71 billion estimate. And they see Q3 revenue, $8.85 billion versus an $8.72 billion estimate.
Interesting. It looks like it didn't do anything because you're seeing here is like, oh, it's up $5, 0.64%. This did nothing. This was actually pretty wild on the report. It went up initially, a little mini spike, and then they took it down to 770. Then they decided, no, we like it, and they took it up to 820. Then the conference call happened, and Jim Cramer tweeted that he liked it, and that was the death spiral then, because then it went straight down to 770. And then it came all the way back up to 795. So the expected move on this puppy was actually $60. So it was quite high. It was even over $60. It was about $65. I don't know who had expected to move on Broadcom to 65. I guess it's because we had those crazy 100-point days, but typically this doesn't move that. That premium's going sucked right out of there. So call buyers lose, put buyers lose. Option buyers are all losing on this. Obviously, it had about a 50-point range go from the 770 to 820, but didn't even come close to testing either end of that expected range here. We're going to get our buddy CC Lagator, who talks this all the time. I just say AVGO, it's still got the AI story here, so it's going to be hard for this stock to go down much on dips. You're going to find buyers twice down at 770. You've already found buyers here now. I think that continues just because it's got the AI story going for it now, and people are tooting its horn on an 18 PE. So AI story 18 PE, not much to not like.
This is a very tough chart. So I'm going to throw out the high, throw out the low, and let's see, from the pre-market trading. And I like the 787.50 level on the downside that splits the lows from the last two sessions. I wouldn't want to see it go red, if I was long the thing and just wanted to see it, make the move. And I'd look for the 2-day close on the upside, 807.96, and then the all-time closing high at 812.73. Yeah, let's sneak in MongoDB before we go to CC here.
All right, let's do it here. They got adjusted EPS here of 56 cents, beats the 19-cent estimate. Sales of $368.28 million, beat the $347.15 million estimate. They do see Q2 revenues at $388 to $392 million versus a $361.59 million estimate. So really good Q2 revenue outlook here. And then also saying in the earnings call, well-positioned to gain from AI applications. AI, right? That's all you got to say, baby.
You got to say it. You're a tech stock. You got to drop it like 20 times in a call. That's how it works. AI, oh yeah, MDB, AI, yeah, bye, algos. I mean, it's going to be bad when AI takes over the markets because they're all just going to buy on AI. So you think it's bad now. Wait till the AI actually starts really trading the markets here. Be like, oh yeah, AI, buy. We like that. Full sky.
I'm just waiting for a call from Jason to say, you know what, we don't need you guys anymore.
Robo-advisors.
Yeah, we got the AI analysts. They come on there.
Pre-market high.
Skynet. Well, they're going to change the show to pre-market prep with Skynet.
Pre-market high 78.45. Three say you will always want to see it. Take out the pre-market high and keep on going. Next target after that 390.84. I don't know where to buy this thing on the dip. Looks like you had some after hours buyers at 360 temporarily. So I'll call that 1.5 star support.
People are hating on my hair here, and the one question is, if we crash and go straight down, will I shave my head and go bald? we crash 20% from here, I'll shave my head and go bald.
Love it. Love it. I like it.
I'll do it.
I've
I'll
been
be like
waiting for
Mitch.
a bald.
And then you guys can't complain about my hair.
I've been waiting for a bald Dennis, man.
It's looking great today.
Dennis,
Look at this hair.
You got to get a summer cut.
I got the AI. They want me to wear a baseball cap.
CC. Let's go. We're going off the rails here. Now you're getting in trouble.
Keep us on the rails, CC.
How's it going?
It's going. I don't know if it's going well, but it's going. I mean, we came off the rails here a few times.
Mitch,
bring us back. Talk expected moves.
Oh, CC, you're gonna do that to me? You're gonna do it to me, man?
I want to go back to AVGO, and I don't.
Oh, he's got the nugget.
CC, okay. I want to go back to AVGO.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk the earnings. I want to talk the pre-earnings move because did you see what this thing did? It went from 700.
Yep.
To $920 in 2 days. This is a stock that moves around like $10, $12. The AI story grabbed it and just ran with it. Yep. There's got to be some money made in some options there for these sneaky AI plays.
Yeah.
Because there's no way anybody's pricing a $200 move on AVGO a week and a half ago.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, and then you go into the earnings and the options market has no idea how to price that after what the stock just did. Right? Yeah. So, like, as you said, I think it was like an 8% expected move, you know, going into earnings, and it's basically unchanged. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know, you know, how to price in that earnings when a stock has done something like that. And I guarantee you, there were people on the market making side that got totally caught off guard with that move into earnings. You know, I mean, there's a bunch of charts that look like that if you look back at May. Right, which is really kind of fascinating because at that time the market was essentially still going sideways, and then all of a sudden you were getting 30% moves in some of these, you know, names like, you know, all the ones mentioned in AI.
Right.
And so, you know, at that point, you know, the options market is getting completely caught off guard on those moves higher, and then you're going into earnings and you're like, I don't know, 8%. Like they have no clue at that point, right? Because if you look at that range, it had just come down into earnings too, right? After that huge move higher. So yeah, I would not be envying, you know, being a market maker that got plugged with a lot of gamma going into that. It's gonna be a rough Friday.
They're making it back though today, I guess, here because it's only moved $3 here now. So I mean, it had the pre-move, so they're getting some of it back here, but. Yeah, you know, obviously the run over that they would have had a week or 4 days ago when it went from the 700 to 900 was crazy. So,
the other thing I just was thinking about is it might be indicative of, you know, I think the last time I was on here, we were talking about very low vol in the market and what that kind of, you know, turns into in a day-to-day trading environment. And we were talking about, you know, how it just basically is like a slow grind higher. If you see the VIX at like, you know, right, I mean, it's practically 15 today. It's generally the sign of a market that's going to be a slow grind higher. And what that AVGO story kind of tells me is you have these story stocks. It might be expanding a little bit beyond AI, right? That's clearly a story stock where earnings didn't matter, right? So that move by Broadcom and by AMD and by Nvidia and all really, you've sort of detached yourself from actually what's happening at the company right now. And it's all about the potential for AI and things like that. And so that might be something to like look out for across the market if that started to expand, you know, further into tech. Obviously you're seeing it in Google and names like that. But at some point, people stop caring about like the earnings themselves, and they're just like, you know, it kind of reminds me of like, you know, not necessarily the meme stock era, but you see these little eras or the SPAC era, where it's sort of just detached from reality a little bit for a while, and that could be indicative of that. Nobody cared about Broadcom's earnings.
It's an interesting point. Like they already had the AI story in there. They already kind of pumped it on the AI story. So, you know, was it going to go up, you know, like crazy like that on the earnings again? Maybe not. So maybe there is an opportunity when these things have their move pre-earnings.
Totally.
And maybe be writing some premium into it.
Yeah. And I think you made the point that there was going to be buyers below, right?
Yeah.
If they completely whiffed, people would be like, oh, this is my chance. I'd missed this move this month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that kind of, again, that just dampens, that kind of reaction to an event like that.
I would have been a buyer below. That thing got down to 750. I was probably shoving it in my long-term portfolio.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
like I did with CRM yesterday.
Well, yeah, like sales. Yeah. And then, I always say that about Nvidia, right? It seems like Nvidia, whatever the hot story is, it seems like Nvidia is always right in the middle of it, right? Because they're in the middle of crypto. They're in the middle of obviously gaming. They're in the middle of now they're in the middle of AI. They're just always in the I don't know if they're like better than everybody else or just better marketers, but they seem to always get into the middle of every story.
Yeah, I would just say like
I'm always bummed that I didn't buy it, on some dip,
it's just like look into your computer, right? Like it can't work without a graphics card. And let's just be honest, it's only Nvidia there that kills it, right? I mean, there's some others that make graphics card, but that's the truth. And I think that if we're going to go further and further, we're going into more computing power. We've all seen it. I mean, look at what our phones can do nowadays. So Nvidia is going to be there. I mean, that's almost like a given. It's just more of a question of what valuation we're going to give them. Right. And you can see it's definitely getting out of the waters right now. I'll kick it to you, Joel. What do you got for us?
We're on the line with CC Lagator. He's the founder of tools.optionai.com. Been giving us a pretty accurate assessment of the market here over the last few months. I just want to go a little bit broad here with the market. The VIX is low, right? Protection's cheap. Who needs it, right? Or what do you see? What are the potential blips on the horizon here that maybe you should be? I mean, does it pay to look at some of this cheap protection now?
Yeah, it's really interesting because the VIX, as low as the VIX has been, the at least the S&P part of the market has basically gone sideways to up. I think it's up about 3% in the last 2 months or something like that, as opposed to the Nasdaq's up more like 10%. But it's been going sideways, and the VIX has been low historically, but it's not been nearly low enough to represent how little movement there's been in the market, right? So, and part of that, I think, was the skew. I think we've talked about this on the show before. So there were still put buyers, like with the lack of movement in the market. Think about like the story backdrops we've had over that 2 months of the market not moving. We still kind of had the remnants of the banking crisis, right? It was kind of, it was going down to the first republics and all, but that wasn't enough to move the market. And then you had the debt ceiling stuff. You still had like the Fed. What's the Fed going to do next? Think about how many of those things have just been removed, right? We kind of like even this jobs number in a few minutes, it's kind of less important, right? Because the Fed has sort of indicated that they're going to chill this month, right? And so that makes every number, maybe that CPI is less important, unless you saw something shocking. So you're starting to remove some of those things that people were probably buying that cheap put protection for. And what that means is you're probably going to see, if barring any sort of big news story coming up, you're probably going to see vol further compress. And when vol further compresses, it further compresses realized vol in the market. It weighs down the market. And, I was looking before I came on, I was looking at like sort of the SPY chart over the next month. Weekly vol in the SPY is like 10 or 11, which is really low. That's pricing like less than a 1% move a week, right? And like even looking out on the chart, there's like a slight blip out at the CPI and the FOMC meeting, as there is every month now. There's like a little bit more volatility that month or that week, but even out to there, the market's pricing like a 1.5% move. It's like tiny moves, right? And so that's what we're seeing is just that further and further compression. And until something dislodges that, like with a big news story, inflation, the types of things like a banking, bubble up, until that happens, like it's a really slow grind market. And
okay, real quick, because we're coming up against the jobs number, we got an early. This is our first Friday. We're gonna have an early, quad witch 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
Any comments here? Just the way it's positioning in the month, and maybe just a slow roll north until we get some fireworks that week. Just got quick comments on on the quad witch.
That's what I would suspect. That slow grind is basically what the options market is pricing. That kind of quad witching week, like it can be the 1 week out of that kind of month that you see some action and you see some, generally to the downside a lot of times if you have this type of market. But then I was thinking like the other aspect of this is it could be like the pin of all pins, like if you have that much options premium expiring this month and, you've seen the VIX go from 20 to 15, like it could be the type of thing where the market just gets absolutely pinned by all of this gamma in the market. And you could see like a VIX at 12 and like the market unable to like even move 1% a week. And then you've got to wait for all of that gamma to clear out, meaning all of that stuff expires. And then it might open up stuff the week after, right? So that's one of the possibilities with a big expiration is it kind of cleans out the pipes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
All right, excellent. Like always, guys, check out Options AI. You guys see there. I've been checking out the tools, CC, and I love it.
And one little announcement, Mitch. Yeah. We just released an iOS app. The brokerage app is now in iOS. So if people want to go check that out, leave good reviews, everything.
Definitely links right there in the description for you guys. Check out Option AI and look, get your app now. We'll see you next time, CC.
Thanks,
Take care.
CC.
All right. Great to see you guys.
Always. All right, let's get ready for, of course, what? We got some numbers coming out at 8:30. We got unemployment rate. We got non-farm payrolls that will be coming in. And you guys see it here. There's a couple of numbers coming in. It's not just two. So pay attention. There could be some change here. Of course, I'm looking at unemployment rate. That's going to be interesting for me. Consensus is 3.5, prior 3.4. What will we see here? Will we see unemployment rise, right? Non-farm payrolls will also give us insight on there. Consensus is 180,000. Prior was 253,000. So not expected to come over that, of course, actually expected to get quite a cut. So we'll see what happens there on non-farm payrolls about to hit at 8:30.
All right, we got the algo jumpers in here. A little bit of a sell-off off the pre-market high. Pre-market high stands at 52.50. Not much there, unless you use the pivot point formula, but I don't know if people use that anymore. Really no resistance in the S&Ps above this high. It doesn't mean there's not going to be sellers at some point, but things open up over 42, 52, 50. On the downside, I mean, we had a nice rally. We had a nice rally overnight. We took out the high of the year at 43.25. So, if they want to punch it through there, then we got some downside here to the pre-market low. But we'll see. I mean, nice gains ahead of it. The market just seems to not really care about this number, but we will find out in about 50 seconds. I know Triple D is going wide here. S&Ps, as I said, a few ticks above of the high.
Verizon, just you want a story here. Verizon going down here right now. T-Mobile, Amazon is in talks to offer mobile service to its prime customers. So Amazon looking like they're trying to get into T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T's business here.
Yep. So it looks like this came out of Bloomberg. And so you know how Bloomberg is probably one of the best there, especially when it comes to rumors. So definitely would pay attention to that. We could see that continue to get hit. The one that I expect to also take a major hit, of course, AT&T, right? I mean, let's just be honest. They've been struggling to keep their business live there, and this isn't going to help.
Okay. All right. It's imminent.
Let's see what we get. Let's see what we get.
Here we go. Okay. First move is down.
Mm-hmm.
More down.
I mean, we've been climbing in the morning, right? So it could just be a nice little.
Is the number even out yet?
Somebody has it, right? I'm trying to get it here, team. I'll get you guys as soon as I see it.
All right. I mean, they took a little dip down.
Non-farm payrolls coming in here, 283,000 versus 160,000. So that was closer to the prior, right? And then that was private non-farm. Non-farm payrolls for May, 339,000 versus 180,000. Prior, 294,000. So big jump in non-farm payrolls with a big spike here. Let's see the unemployment here. 3.7 versus a 3.5% expected reading, 3.4 prior. Remember, we've been hearing a lot from kind of Jerome Powell that he expects unemployment rate to maybe get to 4%. That's 3.7. Not bad. Definitely seeing that start to jump, but it's nothing that really scares me right now. The market could pull back a little bit on this number, I feel, but
you know what?
I don't think it's going to be that scary.
The initial algo jumpers, they got it wrong. They sold it off a little bit. We're basically right where we were when the number came out. So right now we're looking at this as really not a big report. We couldn't make a new pre-market high as we speak. And I'll be interested to hear what Dennis has to say, because little dip, you could have bought the dip there, a little bit of a sell the rip, and we're, like I said,
they're
just
buying all dips. It's just like they're so FOMO.
Yeah, they're not even worried about it jumping.
No,
that's
I know.
Significant
We're at
jump.
this market here where they don't care anymore. They're all about AI. So the market doesn't really care. They think inflation is in check, and they think that the Fed's kind of, if they go one more, so what? We're kind of past it. They're looking past all this now, which is unbelievable. But that's where we're at. The market's in full FOMO. The market thinks AI is going to change the entire world, which it might. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be for the better, but it might change the entire world. But I mean, you get a big jump here. The initial algos hit it on it because they're still pricing in, we're so scared of, the Fed. And I mean, here we are, non-farm payrolls up. You'd think like the market could potentially get hit on this, but no, they bought it right back.
And it kind of helps the narrative, what the Fed has been telling us, right? They've been saying that unemployment will start to kind of rise. So if anything, it's just more along same thing that they're planning, right? They almost plan to see this jump up towards Powell has mentioned that 4% multiple times. And now we're at 3.7. So if anything, I feel like it just keeps us in the line thinking that inflation is coming down and that the Fed is achieving their initiative of getting that inflation down.
Yeah, CC made the comment that he thought they were going to back off at this report, but I mean, what do we have on the Fed tool there? It's still showing another quarter, correct?
I'll take a look. I know that takes like about 7 minutes to update there. Okay. I always look at the thing at the bottom.
It was like 70, wasn't it, for another quarter? It was up there.
Yeah. So right now, what it was current was 74.9%, and that was at 7:23 Central Time. So in about 7 minutes, I'll have the data update there, and I'll be able to tell us exactly how it changed.
It's a really cool tool
from the report.
Where do we get that tool, Mitch? Where do we get that?
CMEgroup.com, and you can just search it on your Google, just Fed Watch tool, I'll make it life easy, right? There you guys have it. There's the link. You guys can just click the link.
Fantastic. Thank you, Money Match.
All right. Yeah. I mean, the sellers gave it one really weak attempt.
Weak sellers.
Yep.
Yeah. Real quick. And then I think, one thing that happened yesterday, Dennis, and I think you and Joel probably saw it, right, is that we started seeing a little bit of a flip. People were like, oh, no, but maybe we're getting tech pullbacks. But it was kind of a little bit of a buy the dip moment because stocks kind of ripped off. Now you're feeling what? The FOMO, right? And I think that's how a lot of traders will be trading today, feeling that FOMO as these stocks are just rocketing off. And we don't really know when the next turn's going to be, but AI is just driving everything higher.
Driving the bus here. You're absolutely correct. I mean, this is where we're at. And it's just this FOMO has taken over the market here right now. Nobody cares about inflation. Nobody cares about a lot of other things. The economic data points are finding a reason to buy them no matter what. I mean, QQQ is breaking out to new 50 or these new 2023 high. SPY breaking out to new 2023 high. IWM has been lagging. We know that. But at least it's showing some life. I like the life it was showing here yesterday. I mean, I bought Salesforce.com yesterday on the dip. Like, I'm using earnings dips to rebuild the portfolio here because right now it's telling me that the bear thesis is wrong. I mean, that can change in a hurry. But right now, if you're sitting in all cash, maybe you're scratching your head, but two, you could even be panicking.
All right.
Go ahead. I
just some more reports here. What you got, Joel?
We got a lot to cover.
Yeah, let's get to Asana. First one here. I think it's an interesting one. Of course, tech stock, right? And maybe could get some AI boost. I don't know too much about what they said on their report. It looks like it came down right back up. EPS came in here at a loss of 9 cents, beating the loss estimate of 18 cents. Sales of 152.41 million. beat the 150.55 million estimate. They did give at least Q2 EPS looking better, but still in the negative there. So we're looking to see when Asana can start making some cash here. But is this a company that you guys would be looking at?
I think on pullbacks, they're getting so I'm still of the opinion I'm buying tech on dips. I'm not buying anything ever on rips. It's just not in my formula of making money over my 23 years to be chasing stocks. But what I tweeted out the other day, I think holds here still. I'm using, strength in really weak sectors to sell, like I sold my Kohl's, and I'm using weakness in strong sectors like CRM, buying CRM yesterday into the dip. I actually wanted to buy CrowdStrike yesterday too. I just got sidetracked there and I never got back to CRWD, and it honestly just went up too fast. I mean, it was at the low, and by the time I got done with my day trading by 9:45, 9:50, that thing was already back up $10. So you had to net stop day trade and go throw an order in your long-term account, and my long-term account, takes a back seat to my trading always. So I just didn't get there in time, and I'm like, crap. I wanted to buy CRM and CrowdStrike. I had it written down yesterday. I could go look at my list wherever it is. There was another one that was dipping yesterday too that I wanted to buy. Where was it? Money Mitch. Who was dipping yesterday? I lost my sheet from yesterday.
CRM was dipping. CrowdStrike was dipping.
There was another one too.
It wasn't
3 on my list.
I know it wasn't Dollar General.
I was looking at OCTA, but I didn't like
OCTA.
So OCTA was the other one,
Yeah,
and
OCTA.
I thought about it, when it got into the low 70s, and there was another one too. There was even another one. AI we talked about. I wasn't buying that one, but look, it bounced right at the 30. We talked, 30 is a logical bounce point for that. Look, it bounces
psychological
right at 30.
level, yeah.
And
Nice.
sometimes these markets just trade very simply with these levels.
I was looking at the Asana. Good old Dustin Moskovitz is doing a little bit better here, but I like the tactical setup on this one. And the reason I do is because, the pre-market high was close to 20. Well, throughout the pre-market high and pre-market low, they got a little crazy there. But you got two highs. You had sellers at 24, 2 days in a row. You punch through there. You're not really looking like at a big gap or a gap fill here. So I think on this one, you look right instead of left. You hold 24. Tight stop maybe and see if it can run back up, get up to that pre-market high. But I like that 24, and I'm like that it came back down to that area. So we'll see if old resistance acts as new support in Asana.
People asking multiple about ARK. We did give, that we kind of like the quadruple bottom. We talked about ARKK, which has held. Money Mitch, are you still in ARKK?
Yes. Riding it, baby. Was talking about that last week. Would it get to growth? It looks like we started seeing growth take off there.
It hasn't been easy. I mean, there is pullbacks continuously here since we talked about the quad bottom. Then stock was around, I think the ETF, I guess it is, 38.20. And then it had the big pop up to like 41, but then it gave you the check back, and that was the buying opportunity back at 38.16 and 38.38. And then now it's continued higher here. So I think you get more checkbacks. But right now, I'm not putting ARK in my long-term portfolio because I just, I couldn't invest with Kathy. I think just the way she invests is I just don't think she's a good money manager. But I tell you that there's trades and opportunities. I do think there's a catch-up trade for some of the Kathy type stocks. And that's why I do like ARK as a trade here right now. I think there's room to 44, 45. I think it's going to be choppy getting there, though. I don't think it's going straight there.
A little extra information. I've been keeping an eye on ARK Invest in the last 10 days, positions that she's increased, decreased from, right? She's increased 50.17 million from Path, increase on Zoom, 21.56, Palantir, Twilio, Tesla, Coin, Roku, Square, and Shop. Those are names that she's been adding.
She's lately. That's to all the losers. Like that's what the weakest. She's the contrarian of all contrarians. When it's really going down, that's what she likes the most. I mean, every time they have a really bad report. Did she add to Salesforce yesterday or buy Salesforce?
No, I don't have it on the list. I don't have it on the list there. So it would tell me if she's increased.
But I mean, the Roku's, which I feel Roku is still like TiVo Part 2. I think it's eventually going a lot lower. Not a fan at all. But I mean,
I kind of like the chart now.
The chart don't look bad though. So I mean, as a trader, there's room to 65. I don't like the long-term story here on Roku. I did put Square in the long-term portfolio. It's up. I'm up a little bit in it. I'm torn. The chart's starting to look a little more productive here. PayPal starting to turn a little bit too. Like I said, if PayPal starts to turn, Square will turn faster. So a long on Square is like a leverage play basically on PayPal here at this point in time. I think there's room with Square. I don't know if I'm in love with the story long term, but I just feel like tech's moving here right now. So I'm picking up some tech that hasn't gone yet. And maybe that's going to be the bad play, but I feel like there's a lot of tech, and that's the ARKK2, that could play a catch-up trade here yet. Sneaky AI trades. Even to Sean Emery's point, who's a fantastic guest, by the way. He was talking about Fiverr. Here's a tech stock making a new 52-week low. I'm not sure if it's going to turn it around or not. I did not take a position in this one, but I was looking at it, thinking about it. And I'm like, well, you're at a tech stock. I don't know what's going on, why it's making new 52-week lows in this really strong tech environment. So that scares me a little bit. But he believes that they're going to be a big AI player. So, he was talking on the show yesterday. So, there's definitely some potential tech stocks that haven't gone yet.
Well, there's one tech stock that I'll bring up, and probably the disaster stock of the day. Let's go to SentinelOne as their EPS at a loss of 15 cents beats the loss of 17-cent estimate. Sales of 133.4 million misses the 136.63 million estimate. They do see Q2 revenue at 141 million versus 151.92 million estimate. And then also bringing down their fiscal year 24 revenue outlook, 590 million on the low end, 600 to the high end versus an estimate here of 638.49 million estimate. So bad guidance. They were able to beat on EPS, but missed also on sales.
I think Spinner said it right. Great sector, just company
wrong. They're just
wrong company.
Is this the AAP in cybersecurity?
Well, yeah, it is kind of, Mitch. It is. Now, does that mean this thing can't turn around and bounce? I mean, you're going to challenge the 52-week low.
You took it. Yeah.
So I mean, that's if you're buying it. When stocks are making new 52-week lows, I always say you got to go, but you've got a 52-week low you could lean on. So if you really want to come in and say, I think we could get a potential buy the dippers coming in here, I don't know if this is my kind of stock, because I lean towards Money Mitch. This might be the AAP of cybersecurity, but there's a low there, 1269.
It's right there, and you got there. That's the all-time low.
You that's also all-time low.
Yeah, the all-time low.
I don't hear a lot of tech stocks making new all-time lows.
Yeah, and then you got confirmation in the pre-market 1270. So keep an eye on that. I mean, that's a good level. Probably a better level to cover a short, but if you're tapped in, if you've been looking for that all-time low, there it is in SentinelOne. Just kind of hanging out. Someone's bringing some stock in here a little bit. They're patient. People are selling stock too, trying to hold $13 on this one. S&P's still chugging higher here in the 4250 handle. They're just, like I said, like the name of the show, jobs data. Like, who cares, right? This is a momentum market. We're just momentum to the upside.
A little better cybersecurity stock. Let's go to Zscaler. A little bit better story there. EPS 48 cents, beating the 42-cent estimate. Sales of 418.8 million, beats the 415.66 million estimate. This is one that I maybe take a look at today. It definitely is getting a little bit of a jump here, but I can see some resistance coming through. I know Joel will be watching it.
What happened back in May 4th or May 5th? I guess it was May 5th.
We'll take a look at that.
Went from 90 up to 110 basically in a day.
What
happened then?
Was that Palo Alto earnings maybe or something?
Well, I maybe there was was there a rumor of a takeover or anything like that? That looks bigger than just a sympathy move here on the chart. That's why I was like, let's go to our trusty Benzinga Pro, because Pro is usually pretty good at tracking all this stuff. It's nice to go back in the Pro, type in Zscaler, and it'll tell you the move. So I'm saying it's going to be about May the 4th. So I'm going back to my Pro right now. May the 4th.
I'm thinking Joel might be right with PanW earnings, but I'm going to take a look here.
I'm trying to grab it too.
Yeah, it went from 89.46 to 107.92.
It's May the 5th to May the 8th. So it could have been May the 8th. There's a lot of news. Oh, it's revenue raised guidance.
Oh.
So they raised preliminary guidance on May. So we knew that's why maybe Zscaler, they raised guidance. So it was a preliminary guidance raise on the morning of the 8th. And that's when you had the big pop, raise full year guidance. So they like that. The market likes guidance raises. Trusty Benzinga Pro.
Got a good level. Another good level in this one. 138 or 137.5. That's two of the last highs from the last three sessions. You did sneak above it in the pre-market when you went to 38.83, but there's your setup. You clear that 137.50, and I'm not really looking much at the pre-market high, but I got a quad. If you want a nice juicy target in this one, I see a quad of highs right around 143. So clear that double top and maybe get a look at 143 in Zscaler. That's a big move and getting a nice reaction, kind of getting rewarded twice. First they raise guidance and then they actually.
You love it when that happens, eh?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, it seems like there was resistance there, but I also see a big resistance on this stock. It's been turned around from it. 5 below we're talking about. Let's take a look into 5 below. EPS here, 67 cents, beats the 63-cent estimate. Sales of 726.2 million, misses the 728.04 million estimate. They do see Q2 net sales 755 million to 765 million. Versus a 768.22 million estimate. So slightly down there on Q2 net sale outlook.
So they're shopping at the $5 stores, but they're not shopping at the dollar stores anymore. Is that what's going on here?
Because I mean,
when's
it was
5
a miss,
below
though.
becoming 6 below? Because there got to be some inflation pushing those margins a little bit here. When do they got to jack up the price? Because isn't everything in the store $5 or less? Isn't that their angle?
Yeah, that's the angle. That's the angle, right?
So it's going to become 10 below eventually because of inflation?
Or you might have to look for new products, right?
Because remember the dollar store went to $1.25, didn't they? Or $1.50? Most of those dollar stores aren't $1 anymore.
I don't think. I think this is just telling us, right? I mean, if dollar stores are struggling, 5 below is struggling, where's the consumer going to?
Got a nice pop. Got over 180 here. So if
Mitch.
you were selling the rip there, but once again, you just got a nice reset here from the daily price action. The daily price action tells you to keep an eye on 177. Let's call it 70. That splits your 3 and 4 day highs. Gets through that area, then you work your way up into the 180 handle. But first things first, let's take out those pair highs from the last few sessions, right at 177.70.
And will ChargePoint finally break long-term trend? We'll see today as they're reporting earnings here. Q1 adjusted EPS at a loss of 15 cents, beats the loss of 17-cent estimate. Sales of 130.3 million, beat the 128.14 million estimate. They see Q2 revenue 148 million to 158 million versus 165.29 million estimate. So seeing Q2 revenue slightly down.
I don't know.
$10,
is there an AI
$10,
story
$10.
here somehow on ChargePoint? I guess autonomous drive. They're gonna go gas up. I don't know. I'm trying. I like to stick to the AI stories more than anything right now.
So
the potential AI stories.
The real reason why I kind of like ChargePoint down here is because we got to think about it overall, right? If we're really going to go into this big EV adoption phase, there needs to be charging stations already established. The structure, the infrastructure needs to be there for the massive adoption, right? And so will this take some time? I think it might take some time, but ChargePoint's near the lows, right? And I think that now's the time when we can start looking in the dumpster for growth stocks. So I don't know. I haven't taken a shot on ChargePoint.
I'm not shorting this thing. I'm not in the business of shorting any tech stock right now. Again, buying tech on dips, selling, other stuff on rips has been, the recipe for success so far, at least in the last month. I think that can continue. It is a tech stock. I think they classify this as a tech stock and whatever you could put it. So, you got a quad bottom, 930, 935. Could you come in here and buy the dip on this? Make money? I think you probably could. I'd probably lean on that double bottom, not a triple bottom. I thought it was triple. It's double bottom, 930, 934. Maybe a lean there.
Those are pretty close to each other. Yeah, I think of this one, I would approach it, it's down 28 cents. I'd approach this as like, show me a solid 10 bid. There's been resistance going back in April, got up there just below that kind of 3 sleepy highs here, right at the 980, 990 level. That tells me someone's looking at wiggle out around 10, but I don't think you're going to get a gap fill here at 852 today off this report, but I can see this having some legs if it gets above $10. And the pre-market just kind of quiet. 250,000 shares have traded.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to do a little bit of some ticker time. We're going to look inside kind of the dumpsters, where we're looking for. If you guys have stocks you guys want to check out, tell us what you guys want to see. Let's get to TradeZero. All right, let's go ahead. Let's take a look. Let's see what we're seeing right now. We'll go to the net change up. We can also take a look at stocks that you guys are watching. I did start taking a little bit of some shots yesterday in growth stocks. I'm just looking
what else you buy
deeper. So I went for LAZR, which is a LiDAR play. Of course, they have a partnership with Nvidia, GM. So things like this is what I'm looking for.
I kind of like this, like these plays. I like these sleepy, tech plays that haven't gone yet. Yeah, just because we're setting up. I did some up work too. So just in the last day or two, because you know what? Sleepy tech play hasn't gone yet. Fiverr, is what Sean was talking about. Upwork kind of, similar.
Yeah, they're talking about AI though, maybe actually hurting these,
Well, there's a potential of that too. But if you go on their sites, they talk about AI helping them, to AI, finding people with AI, skills. So they're trying to spin it. So there is that too. And that's the thought process too. I just think the charts are starting to look more constructive here. I think Money Mitch is with me too. I'm just looking for like sleepy tech plays that really are beaten up. I mean, if you look at like an Upwork, May 4th, the capitulatory sell-off down to 656. Wow. Everybody said, I can't take it anymore. It's going to zero. And now you've been in consolidation station here for the better part of a month. So I think it's starting to perk up. I think there might be room to 10. So take it from 8 to 10. That'd be a pretty good trade. I don't know, but that would be my target and I'm in it right now. So that is my target, $10.
I'd like to see a formation similar to what you had last week, where you definitely had a large buyer here at the 760 to 770 area, 4 lows in a row right in that area. Then you finally got the pop. Now where, maybe they get, they're enough of stock at 770. Maybe they bump it up to 8 bid, an 8 bid, 810 bid. But just looking at this one, if you can clear 8.25 was the high from going back, and then you took that out yesterday. This thing's open on the upside. I wouldn't want to be short it. Your next daily high you're contending with doesn't come in until 953. S&P's leaking here a little bit. We hit a pre-market high of 42.57. Just a little bit of a leak, but as long as we stay above that 42 or 43.25, we just went through it just for a tad. Off the number, but that's a good number. The former high of the year needs to act as support in this market. What else you got from TradeZero?
All right, let's catch up. Let's do some chat talk too. I want to get them into there. So of course, Carvana wants to got a nice little push yesterday. This was one that I was talking about it when it was right here setting up for the move. I played it that day for the break to the upside, but I sold it too early. It was not a swing. It was just a day trade.
Story.
So you guys can see it. I sold it into the 13s while it's now up there almost to 17. Double top there though. It seems like we're getting a double top near the 1690s. What do you guys see?
This has got such high short interest. You just have to watch it. I mean, I can't come in here and is Carvana eventually going to go a lot lower? I think long term, but right now they're squeezing them. Right now we're in this bull market here, especially for anything that's beat up. They think about this as, some people are, thinking this is a short squeeze play. And I'm not going to fight that. So I'd be cautious being short this right now.
Flat on the session. I don't really see any good levels here. I do. Mitch is mentioning that 1677 was your high going back on February 8th. And then you got there again, 1690. So not, 90 cents away from there. That's a good target. See if you can take that out.
We got some chemical companies that are really popping here. So DD and CC, you see them both in here back to back. These are huge moves for these companies. Apparently there's some PFAS settlement with the U.S. water system. So there was like some comprehensive settlement. I don't know anything about that, but this is the reason that you're seeing these two stocks along. Another one there is Corteva. CTVA, it's popping a little bit on this too, but DD, big pop. That's a huge move for DD, up 6%, and CC's up 15% here right now.
What about Eastman Chemical? What about Eastman Chemical? Does that fall in that?
I don't know who's in the settlement, who's not. I'm not following that story.
Okay,
so I think this is more company specific stuff here.
Okay. Wow, that's the biggest move I've seen in DuPont. What do they break the company up? They put it back together. They break it up again. That's a big move here, up 6%.
Yeah,
we'll see what
usually
happens.
those are selling.
Yeah, 72.38. We'll keep an eye on that one. Oh, 72 looks like you stalled there. So keep an eye on $72. Even if you open above there, make sure if you're buying this one, you're looking for 74. Make sure 72. I like that.
I think we've got to go back to the disaster stocks of the day here. It's AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. These things are getting just walloped right now. T-Mobile is right now down 7% here. This is the biggest move down for T-Mobile that we've had in probably a couple of years. I don't remember the stock being down 7% in a very long time. Verizon is down 5.7% right now, and AT&T is down 6%. They're killing these things. They did not see this coming. They did not think Amazon, which is trading higher here because it looks once again like they're expanding into other industries, the continued growth of Amazon into everything. But I mean, if you're all of a sudden going to be a telecom provider here, I mean, they're moving into this sector. I mean, AT&T and Verizon were already in a lot of trouble. They don't want to compete with Amazon. Nobody wants to compete with Amazon. But T-Mobile was the one that was really grabbing market share from Verizon, and that's why T-Mobile has been so good for so long, as they've continued to grab market share from AT&T and Verizon. But now you bring Amazon into this pool. Well, I don't even know what that means, if that's true. And again, I don't have confirmation here. Bloomberg is breaking the story. We don't have confirmation this is actually all accurate here, but Bloomberg's usually pretty good. I mean, wow. T-Mobile down $10.
Yeah, this is we've seen the short-term effect when Amazon comes into this. This is probably a little bit easier than their last endeavor. The street's been right with this thing. No, investors have been selling this thing off since mid-April, and I just want to look at the scene of the crime. Former low of the move, 133.71. So use that as resistance. And the monthlies, wow, there's 3 monthly lows in the 130 area. We've traded below that, so we'll see. We'll see if some people just come in for a quick windfall and not even waiting to see if Amazon does it. But surely, man, this thing had a nice last 2 days, giving it all back, new low for the move. You don't want to see that on a day when the market's making new highs for the year.
And please don't call me Shirley.
We'll see what
else. Softball up the middle, right?
That's an old one.
All right. It's 8:58. We're going to wrap it up here for TradeZero. Like always, you guys can check out, of course, if you guys are looking for an extensive short inventory and are looking for shorts to watch, definitely check out our page there on TradeZero, throwing up here in the chat. Let's go ahead and wrap up the market. Take a look at what Joel is seeing. Final levels here.
Yeah, final levels of the day. The upside is murky because there's nothing in there. I could show the S&Ps here. We got to extend the chart here.
You know what I find very interesting here?
What?
Is the mega caps tech are going down. You got Microsoft is red. It's like these things move opposite. Once they start buying everything else, and today is like a bank day. Today is like an IWM day. Today is an oil day. They're like, wait a second. We're going old school. We're buying value here today. And they're selling Microsoft. Microsoft is red. Meta is red. Google is red. Amazon's up. We know why Amazon is up because they are obviously, talking about this telecom. And Apple's holding green. That's an exception. Netflix is barely green here. What's Tesla doing? I never looked at Tesla. Tesla's still trading up $2. But you got Microsoft, Meta, and Google that have all went red here. Now, they were all green this morning. So they've all turned red. And that's the reason is that the IWM, they don't like to all go up together. They were doing a little bit yesterday, but IWM trading up 1.18%. They're like, wait a second. Maybe we're buying value today.
It's IWM. I'm just going to look at that high from last week, and I think that would give you the go signal if you can clear that high from last week at 180. We're up $2. We're still $2 away. For the S&Ps, like I said, there's light resistance up here, so we'll use the pre-market high and follow through the pre-market high for. I got a target up here of 42.81. That would be a real nice juicy target based off the 9-day average trading range. On the downside, you still got to keep an eye on that 43.25, former high of the year. Will old resistance act as new support today? We will find out, folks. Thanks for joining us here on this Friday, and everyone have a great weekend.
Have a good one, Joel. Definitely keep up with Joel, of course. Pre-market prep plus, and of course, you guys got the closing print that starts at 3:30. Don't miss it, team. Smash the like. We got a couple more comments here. We'll take an outlook. Dennis, I took my shot on Intel yesterday.
Did you buy Intel?
I got that on the pullback. I was looking for pullbacks. I was like, come on, Intel. Come back to me.
You know what?
I
don't mind it here. And again, I think I'm going to end up getting called away because I got lower calls written on this thing now. I wrote them in the money, which I don't usually do that, but I was anticipating it falling. Now it's got to pop back up, so now I'm in trouble. I'm going to get called away. I like it at 30. I think 31. I'd love a pullback to 30. You may be early, but maybe you don't get the shot down there either. Sometimes you got to strike early if you really want it, and you're going to get the shot. I think Intel could be a sleepy turnaround story here. So I mean, the valuation is there. I like it better than I did a couple weeks ago. We'll put it that much. When I was writing those covered calls, I was like, this thing's rallied up. This thing's been a dog of all dogs. I'm going to write some calls here. If they call me away, so be it. Now I'm like, I don't know if I want to get called away here anymore. Yeah. So pulls back to 30. Maybe I'll cover my call and cover my calls and ride this thing long. We'll see. Haven't decided yet, but right now I'm hedged.
Yeah, I was looking for below 31s yesterday, and I just had to take a piece. So I started at 31.35, and I agree with you. 30 definitely seems like a lot better psychological spot for the pullback, and you can see this on the daily, kind of a little bit of a trend line. I always look for stocks to pop above trend lines, come back to it, and then take off. They call it at the throwback look. We'll see if we get that opportunity. Intel and different names. And then I also took a shot on Square.
You're in Square with me too. We're riding the Square together.
I mean, that's a nice looking chart. Nice bottoming levels, man.
Right now. I know it's constructive. That's what I'm saying. Like the Upwork is a similar chart. It's like these sleepy little consolidations. I'm like, did they start buying all these laggard tech stocks? I think there's a play there.
That's what I'm
short
thinking
leash
too.
On these, I think, money, Mitch. I don't think we can marry the Squares or the Upworks. I think on the Square, your stop out point's probably below that 57.78 low. On the Upwork one that I just talked about, I think I'm stopping up below that 754 low. So the problem is this market gets choppy and ends up stopping us out sometimes too. So sometimes when you get stopped out, sometimes you should be buying it. But I don't know. They're looking like there's life in some of these things.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, like you mentioned, stocks that have been sleepy. Maybe had a recent move, like a recent pop. And then I'm seeing just sideways action. What this gives us also is a level to risk off of. Like I always say, I think you say it too, as long as we know our out plan, you could take a trade. Why not?
You can trade anything as long as you know where your out is. So you can put on anything. And I like it when they're they've been killed. Now you're seeing life in tech. They're just sitting here bouncing, but starting to curl up. The little curl up. Starting to curl a little bit on the chart.
Yeah,
I'm not
who's
a
the
huge
pressure
technician.
on there?
I don't have all the terms. I don't have all the technology. I just like a little curl it up. Curl little life. That's where I'm interested here. So you're starting to see a little curl up in Square, little curl up even in PayPal here, Mitch. I mean, Square is, but being long Square is like being long PayPal to a certain extent, though. So,
in very similar charts of what I'm talking about, right? Is that so? Like you see it here on the volume, right? So you see the slow. This is what I'm looking for. A stock that has a pop like this, then went sideways, and now has increasing volume into the recovery. So that's the type of things that I'm looking for. Upwork, look at this. That spike down here of volume.
That was the capitulatory, capitulation, classic capitulation. Everybody
exactly. And then what is that? That's shorts probably covering, right? Saying, I'm getting the hell out of this. And then what is this? Increasing volume on the up move. To me, that shows me more psychological of buyers stepping into the name.
Yeah, it shows me life.
Yeah, shows
and
life,
I don't
right?
use the volume. Maybe I should use it more because I get the story you're talking. But you see what I like. I just like the little bit of curling.
yeah. You just
let's go curling. Action. I'm Canadian. I like to curl. Let's go curling.
A little sweep action, baby.
Check. Oh, a little bit of life. Now maybe it just becomes death. Maybe something happens and it doesn't work out, and that's okay. I mean, trades are okay. You're gonna lose on some of these. We definitely don't win 100% of the time. We don't win 90% of the time. 80, 70s. Maybe 60. I've never really calculated my win ratio, but I think it's probably in the 50s. So I probably calculated out as probably in the 50s. So that's almost half the time you're still losing. You're just taking educated guesses and looking for, when some momentum starts after, the death. I love turns. These are turn trades. These aren't like, your classic, technicians can be like, oh, we only buy uptrends or downtrends. This is in a downtrend still overall. So I always am like more of a turn trader, like where I'm trying to find where is it starting to turn? Where does the uptrend start to look like it might actually start to break and we might actually get some going? Because, a lot of these stocks have been so sold for so long. A lot of them are very oversold, even though some of these are bad companies and some of them probably are. That doesn't mean a bad company can't go up, if you start to get, some, momentum going in the overall market. Rising tide lifts all ships, hoping the rising tide continues.
We'll see if the lags come into play. Like always, relationships. Have a good one, Dennis. You enjoy your weekend. We will see you always on Monday. Have a good day, man. Take care. All right, we're going to wrap it up here on Pre-Market Prep. We'll bring you guys over to live trading action. I will start it off there. Ryan will be joining me in just a few minutes. We'll see what I'm able to get into. How can I continue in my prop account, continue on the small account challenge? Swings all looking good. The only one that's kind of break evens like LAZR. So we're going to continue to watch how these work. ARK is really one of my major kind of stocks to kind of keep an eye out for to see how growth names are moving. I'll keep an eye out on names like Unity, Shop, Roblox, Snow, names like this. I will definitely be on my watch. If you guys want to check that out, all you got to do is come over to live trading. That's starting up right now. And of course, don't miss it. We do got the book club coming back, and I'm going to do a little bit of a morning session. So if you guys are not part of the book club, haven't been part of the book club, don't miss out your opportunity, of course, to continue with Japanese candlesticks, charting techniques. Of course, we've been going through this book, learning some technicals, right? And I got some great stuff that I want to talk about, support that we're seeing in the market. And what I love about this book is that we can compare it to the market today, the exact patterns that we're seeing. So if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, check me out on Sunday. We're going to do 9 a.m. Eastern. So all you book members out there, I will be giving out an email also about this, but 9 a.m. Eastern, going to try a different time. Had some slight adjustments. I have like my baseball league. A lot of the times I get a little bit too close towards book club afternoon time. So I'm going to try the morning to see if we can get everyone there and accomplish, of course, our book club. This is completely extra, completely free for you guys out there. And I really do this so that we can all continue on our journey climbing up. I learned from these books. I hope you guys do too. Check it out, the book club. I'll throw up the link one last time. And now to get you guys over to live trading, that's starting up next, guys. Smash it up, team. It was a good one today.